Welcome to Off the Post, brought to you by Lights On Electric and Coverall Exteriors. I've got Anthony Mingione here, and how are you?
You do have me. How are you, Russell?
I'm pretty good. Michael Jello, how are you?
You're lucky to have me, Russ.
Wow, I'm not sure that's lucky, but we are lucky to have Jackie Spiegel from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Jackie, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. So, we watched an interesting game yesterday. The way the schedule is, as far as it being condensed, is especially hard on goalies. And so I was seeing Jake Allen kind of get tired in that game, but I also was wondering now about Dan Vladar because he's on pace to play 53 games and he's never played more than 30. Do you think the Flyers had that plan in place, or you think it's kind of like they're going to kind of move the goalposts as it happens?
Well, since you're wearing a Jets hat, I will say they're going to move the goalposts. So I think it's a very fluid situation. I think Rick Tocchet, I asked him the question, why, like in Ottawa, this was a weekend to the season, maybe, because it was now the third game that Vladar was starting. And it's like, any concerns about Urson, he hasn't played in over a week now, blah, 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 and he's like, well, Vladar's winning, right? So, little Torts-esque, but, I think it was a fair question because when he walked in the door, he said it was going to be a rotation, at least to start. And it was literally like game 5 and we're writing Vladar already. I think the thing with Vladar is that, he hasn't played more than, what was 20 something, 30 games.
30 games. I think 30 is his tops.
Doesn't mean he can't do it. No, I think that's, I think you have to remember who Dan Vladar was before he got to, or should say, who stood in the way of Dan Vladar before he got to Philadelphia. Because you had your Tuukka Rasks, you had your Jacob Markstroms, you had your Dustin Wolf, who's the next, great American goaltender. So I think, I don't think it wasn't that he couldn't. It's just that he was never given the opportunity because, sorry, you're not, no offense to Dan Vladar, you're not starting him over Tuukka Rask. Let's be realistic here in Boston. So I think we're fine. I think, it's the beginning of the year. I don't think there's going to be any issues right now. Obviously, we know what can happen when Urson was ridden into the ground by Tortorella when he was here. And you do have to remember Dan Vladar did have hip surgery a little over a year ago. So there's obviously things to remember and things to be cognizant of, but I think it's early on. And, I do think they're going to want Urson to get games. I don't think that's an argument, right? The Flyers organization still believes in Sam Urson. He just, and I think, what I think was the most striking point the other day was when Tocchet was like, they play different in front of Sam than they do in front of Dan.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you, because I feel like that was always the case. Even when it was, Fedotov and Kolosov, and even let's go back to, oh my God, it just escaped my head. The Swedish goalie who was, when it was Cal Peterson and Felix
Sandstrom.
Yeah.
They play different in front of Sam. I think there's a belief more in Sam, so they just go, oh, he's going to stop everything. And they just play the most loose game in front of him. Yeah. And it's I think I said it on Son of the Goalie. I don't compare. I'm not saying he's Henrik Lundqvist, but that happens sometimes when you have to Henrik Lundqvist. And you remember, I was in the New York Mocha for years. I watched Henrik Lundqvist's entire career working at SNY in different places. The Rangers played differently in front of Henrik Lundqvist.
No, it's true.
There was no one would argue that, right? When Cam Talbot came in that year after Lundqvist got the skate to the neck, I think it was. I think he should have got an MVP award, because he played great, but they also clamped down. So but at least Tocchet said it. At least he was he acknowledges the fact that they played different in front of Sam Urson. So it's an interesting dynamic. What do you do then? But I don't think there's any concern right now for Dan Vladar. It does the games start piling up, and they're going to have to go to Sam more, probably.
It must be an ex-Philadelphia Flyers thing because, and Anthony, I'll let you go to the question. I'm just going to say, Rick Tocchet has done that with Vladar Craig Berube, his rotation is Anthony Stolars and Anthony Stolars. That's his rotation. So there you go. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, he had issues with. I mean, Jacob Wall was out for a long time, and who's your backup then? Is Caden Primo now?
Primo. There you go.
Primo was the backup for a little while.
He's back in Carolina, I think now, right? I think
he's in Charlotte. Yeah.
He's a Chicago Wolf right now, but there you go.
Yeah. But speaking of the way that the Flyers are playing differently, I think we have the fascinating new defensive pairing of Jamie Drysdale and Emil Andre. And we've been wondering a little bit about where the Flyers' transition game has been, but it seemed to be in overdrive with the two of them paired together last night. Just wanted to get your thoughts on what was just strikingly different, in terms of how quickly they were able to get counter rushes, going in this game.
Oh, it looked like the Flyers under Torts a little bit because, I mean, the Flyers were one of the best rush teams up until this year kind of thing. It's funny. We had a comment in like the reader section about like, oh, it's nice to see the new scribe, appreciating Andre kind of comment. And it's like, I've been on the Emil Andre train for a while now. Like, I love Emil Andre's game. Like, I grew up in New York, so everyone knows that. There's no hiding the fact. There was one moment last night where he rushed the puck up all the way from his own end.
Yep.
I was like, you know who he looks like? I'm gonna show my age, but you know who he looks like?
I know who you're gonna say.
Rhea Rutsalainen.
No.
I was gonna say he looks like Brian Leach on this part.
Right.
Like that, and that was an exciting thing as a kid watching that, right? Like a guy rushing the puck all the way up the ice. He was probably, in my mind, the first big puck moving defenseman I've ever watched, right?
Yeah.
And I just love, I mean, if you talk to Emil, like confidence, like he might be 5'9", but he does not play like a 5'9" player.
No.
Like he's fascinating to watch. I mean, but he also moves so well. Like there was a couple of plays in the last two games where I sit next to Will James of Philly Hockey Now, and I'm like, that was Emil, right? Like, did you see that? Because like it was such smart puck moving, smart movement with his feet.
Yeah.
Like, and then Tocchet also talked pregame yesterday about how he uses his body position and he's smart, he uses his brain. He does.
Yeah.
He does. He goes up against guys that are like, monsters.
I'll give you another guy. I'll give you another player who's reminding me of a bit, Torrey Krug. That's really who he reminds me of.
Probably because of the size.
And I'm going back to Tocchet's comment about the fact about Emil's not scared of going into the corners. So that is a very Torrey Krug archetype to me.
Yeah, which is a good archetype. I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Great defenseman. Obviously, though, the concern is the injuries there with him, right? So like maybe not the best if you're a Flyers fan, but I was a little, unsure of the pairing. They do play a similar game. We've seen Jamie Drysdale struggle with his defensive game, but that's not Jamie Drysdale today, right? Like the Jamie Drysdale of today is actually a very good, like he's a defensive defenseman again.
He's better defensively.
Yeah,
his offense hasn't come
getting
around.
closer to what we saw, I think, what we all saw in World Juniors. It's getting closer. The game is starting to get closer to what we thought. And my running joke is in just in the nick of time with Cutter Gauthier obviously going off in Anaheim. So you don't think so if you're going to be litigating that trade over and over again.
It's enough with the comparison. Like
I know.
Who's going to do it? Cutter. See, my whole thing is fans might not like it. He didn't want to come here.
No, of course.
Move on. Like there's been so many teams. Like I've been involved in hockey. I've been a fan my whole life. Like players come and go. That's just you want to keep guys, but as much as I don't want to give Kevin Adams credit, like when he made the comment, like if you don't want to be here, you're not going to be here. Like he didn't want to be here. We don't know why. Who cares the why? Move on. Do your thing. Have fun. Whatever.
Well, the problem with that, Jackie, is that if they followed that, nobody would be playing for the Sabres right now. And I would appreciate you moving the goalposts because as opposed to Russ, because if that was the case, the Bills would have won a Super Bowl in my lifetime.
I never want the Bills to win a Super Bowl in my lifetime. So
yeah. So
sorry, Mike. I'm with.
I'm just going right by that one.
I'm with
Russ. Elliot Friedman last night. I was listening to this coming back from going out for dinner last night, listening to his 32 Thoughts podcast, and he discussed the fact that the Flyers are looking for a center in earnest.
Right.
And my comment was to nobody, because I was driving by myself, join the crowd, because how many friggin' teams out there are looking for, now I don't know if they're looking for a number 1 or number 2, but good luck on either one of them, because as Russ told me last night, Trevor Zegras is having a great year and he's a fantastic offensive player. He's just not a center. He can't win faceoffs. Defensively, he's not there. He can't play center. So that experiment is over with. I mean, how realistic do you think it is that Danny Briere is going to be willing to pay the price that he would have to pay for a Kadri or the few centers that are out there on the trade market before the deadline?
I don't think it's a Kadri. Kadri's not the right age range for this team.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be Brad Lambert, but and it would cost him a player. It would, a good player.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Well, I've heard that like Winnipeg wants defensemen. Flyers have a bunch of them.
They do.
Just saying. Yep. I mean, like, the problem with Brad Lambert is as it was described to me last night, is that he's a bit of a center. Yes, he's a center, but he's also been playing a lot of wing. So he's also maybe in that Zegras mold of like.
Yeah, I was thinking
right now.
He's a little better on faceoffs, but that's fair. I mean, that is a fair thing.
I've liked Brad Lambert though. World Juniors. Playing for Finland. He was supposed to go like at some point that year. He's supposed to go number 1. Like he was in the topic. He was like really good that year.
Like Timothy Liljegren was supposed to go number 1 a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, guys slip. It happens. But like he was in the conversation that year. Very fast. I mean, he does bring the speed that the Flyers like. He does. He is in the right age range that the Flyers like. I don't know if Brad Lambert's the answer, because I don't know what kind of center they're looking for. I think that's the problem. I don't think the Zegras being a center has completely fallen to the wayside. I mean, you have to remember he is playing that hybrid center position right now.
They still sprinkle it in too. They've here and there where they sprinkled it in.
Yeah, to a degree, he is playing that hybrid center. In my opinion, that makes it almost like I actually kind of like the hybrid center for him right now, because to become a center again, because it's almost like wing hybrid center. Like it's almost like a nice transition for him to like get back to playing.
Training wheels.
Yeah, the only thing is I think when you don't like it is if you play a team that's like 3 strong up the middle, then it's kind of like then it's a problem. Then it's a problem. Against some teams you could do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say how many teams have 3 strong up the middle is.
There's a few good ones.
There's a few, but it's tough for us. I mean, it's tough in the league. You're going up against, looking at a Colorado potentially or somebody like that. But
you do have to think that the Flyers do need to make a few moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have Porter Martone in the wings.
Yes.
They have Luchenko now in the wings as center. He'll be on at least in Lehigh next year, if not the Flyers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Potentially Shane Van Sage even is ready to go. I mean, he's now 2 years of college hockey. You have your Alex Bumps and your Carson Dorwarts. And I mean, look at Denver Barkey and what he's doing in Lehigh.
Yeah.
Lane Peterson has looked good in Lehigh. Not that he's expected to be like a showstopper, but he could be a 3rd, 4th liner guy.
I was going to say it puts the heat on an Albals to make sure that he can get some production there.
And he's also a UFA at the end. He's a UFA at the end of the year. So like, yes, they have some contracts leaving like Nick Delorier's and Abels and a couple there. They have like Lawton and Atkinson's contracts off the books, but they do need to make room, right? Like Nikita Grabenkin, and I will beat this drum. Like Nikita Grabenkin is not a 4th liner, in my opinion. He is at least a 3rd. Like he needs to play with more offensively skilled people. No offense to the 4th line, but he just needs to play with guys that have a little bit more jump in their offensive game. I think
creativity.
Yeah, he's very good along. He's almost like
he's a strong support player. I think for a talented line mates, you have that added element to that line. It can click.
Yes, he plays like the game like a Garnett Hathaway to a degree, not with all the other stuff, but like the wall and the toughness and the whatever that complements other players. Like when Garnett can move up into the lineup, like he's a very good player too, right? Because he complements and creates space It's a Zach Hyman kind of. I've always say like a Zach Hyman kind of player.
You're making Leaf fans feel real good right now. There,
sorry, but like he makes his teammates look good, right? Like he creates space for them. Zach Hyman's very good at creating space, going to the dirty areas, going into the net. Like that's Zach Hyman's game. Which yes, Russ or Mike, I do think he was probably the best free agent pickup that year when he was picked up by the Oilers, but like. Which I think it was at Square News at the time, and I actually did say that he was the best pickup that summer. But anyway, that's Gurbenkin's game. So he needs the players that he complements better, if that makes sense.
Well, he just needs to see the ice at this point.
Well, that's it.
Like if we get to a third game here with him sitting against Tampa, it's kind of like you get to the point of like get him ice time if you need to get him play.
Yeah, I mean, we'll gotta remember. I wouldn't surprise me if he goes down at some point. Lehigh Valley was just on the road, so it would be no sense to send him down over the weekend. Mm-hmm. We might hear, who knows? We might hear something today. We might hear something tomorrow. Like, they do go on a week-long trip. Granted, half the week is literally down the road in New York, so like it's not like Allentown's that far. But I wouldn't be surprised if Oliver Bonk goes back to Lehigh now, fully. Looks like pretty good to go. He was never on the roster, so it doesn't open up a roster spot. But I think, we're getting close. Like, is Ristolainen on this road trip? He hasn't been practicing with the team yet, but this was like the expected time frame of like potentially getting back into games. Will we see him in Tampa Bay?
I'll say the easy thing and say no, but he has to be getting close.
Yeah. It's been very quiet on the Ristolainen.
It has, really
unusually so. Like you figured you'd be hearing a little bit more.
We've seen him skate.
We've seen him, but it's been quiet.
So, Jackie, my last one for you is, since we've all extolled the virtues of Emil Andre, the obvious thing that Rick Tocchet has balked at is putting him on the power play where he is really good. And the problem is
he was there last night.
He played third period on the power play last night.
Last night.
But that's in a game.
Also, Cam York and Trevor Zegras were back together on the power play. Just saying. I've been beating that drum for a while because why they took them apart in the first place made no sense to
that's
me.
Fine. But here's the problem for me. Cam York and Jamie Drysdale don't like to shoot on the power play. They just don't. They don't shoot much.
I think they've been better about that, Russ.
I don't think they've been that much better. You got one goal apiece. I watch them. They miss the net a lot. Like Cam York especially, while he is
wait, hold on, Russ. Cam York might have one goal on the power play. However, he did take the shot that Tyson Forster tipped.
That's fine. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is he is a great puck distributor, but I see him passing up many shots on the power play. But I would like to see Andre get more time on the power play.
Honestly, I think that's an issue altogether for the power play. They all pass the puck around a little too much for their own good.
That's fair.
So, Jack, last one for me. Just kind of if we're at the quarter pole. So if you kind of had to sort of summarize kind of where the Flyers are as a team right now.
Yeah.
Do you think over the long haul that this team, especially with the amount of overtime games that they have played to start the season,
fun?
It's been. Oh yeah, it has. Are they? If you kind of prognosticating that, do you think this is a playoff team?
Well, I mean, I think like I asked Cutter Gauthier, like, do they look at the standings? And he's like, yeah, maybe a little bit, but like we don't really pay much attention to it. But also like. He said last night, he's like, well, if you're in seventh, you're literally like a point out of the playoffs. Like he's like,
right.
It's like right now, it doesn't like it's such a who knows. Like I don't know if that means the Metro is strong or if that means the Metro is weak or in the Eastern Conference is weak. Like I don't know.
The
Eastern Conference sucks. The Eastern Conference sucks right now. If the Buffalo Sabres are still within range and the Toronto Maple Leafs, with all their injury problems, are within range, the Eastern Conference sucks.
I would disagree.
Or American Thanksgiving just isn't what the marker it used to be.
I actually like to consider January 1st more of a marker of how they are, and also like. I always go back to it, but like the St. Louis Blues were literally in last place in the NHL on January 1st, and they won the Stanley Cup in 2019.
There's hope, Leaf fans.
The league is such the hockey season. So, as much as like, Torts had his things, like what he kept saying, it was like, he was right. Like it's
this year, especially. Yeah.
It's such an up and down thing. I mean, are the Flyers a play? I mean, as of today, I would say, yes, I think they can be if they play like they did last night.
Yeah.
And I think and I don't know, call me crazy. You guys obviously have watched the Flyers a lot too. Like, it just seems like they're scoring goals easier.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
against the
there's
Blues-
something to that. I think
against the Blues and against them last night, it's like they were shooting better. They were picking their spots better. Like,
Yeah.
I'll go
I
more
think-
along.
I'm going
with
to say that I
if
think
they
the
see it
four,
against Tampa. I'm
I
gonna
think
see
the
what
4
they do
days.
against them.
I think that the fact that they actually had time earlier, this week to be able to kind of work on things, and Taka kind of set the expectation that there's been good response. So the expectation was that results were going to come, and they have.
it just feels like I don't think I've ever seen like that Tyson Forster goal where he just shoots it off the pass like that on the it was like literally like boom boom
second
in.
I
goal.
think he's done it on the power play like last year.
Yeah,
We haven't seen it this year.
Like that's like an easy goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He,
Great pass, by the way, by Cates. It was
Oh,
a
yeah,
fantastic
that was great
cross-the-team pass.
I just don't feel like we've seen that from the Flyers before, though.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just feel like in the last 2 years, it was always like they worked really hard to get their goals.
No, I think that's fair. I think, like I said, I want to see against Tampa what that looks like, and then maybe I'll get on board with that.
But Tampa's not having a great year either, right?
Well, they're starting to pick it up.
Oh.
They are starting to pick it up.
And Hedman's now hurt though, Russ. So
and
that
Kucherov too. I mean, like they're, again, he might be
You're
there
gonna go
Monday,
through
he
it.
might not. That's the way this whole season is. But
Yeah,
I might
well,
start getting on board.
Somebody did ask, we're talking about the injuries.
Yeah.
Yesterday, one of the Devils reporters asked about, like, why do you think there's such an uptick in injuries? And Talk is like, well, practice times are different now, and it's like you're playing 4 and 6, and then you have like 2 days, and then you're playing another 4 and 6, and it is
this Olympic schedule. That's
It's
what
not
it
a
is.
great
we're going to the
schedule.
Olympics.
It's not a
No.
great schedule for the players. I can tell you the schedule has not been great for me in terms of like trying to figure out flights.
Oh,
Like,
it's got to be a nightmare.
there's no direct flights between Montreal and Buffalo, so I might see you in Toronto, Mike, and then
There you go.
drive down to Buffalo. Like it's just
That might be the way.
yeah, it's a crazy schedule. Just seems, I don't know, like December just. Well, let's have this conversation after December when
Okay.
we're on the road for almost the entire month. And
Yeah, you might be better off taking the Via Rail from Montreal to Toronto and then driving from Toronto to Buffalo if the flights are that bad.
Well, there's flights from Montreal to Toronto, but I'm figuring I have to get there early for a practice. So
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out like it's either that or take like a flight from Montreal to like LaGuardia and then LaGuardia.
Oh
to,
my God.
like,
All right.
That
Stay
just
away
sounds
from LaGuardia.
silly.
All right. Well, that's it. That's enough travel talk. Jackie, thanks so much for coming on,
Thanks,
and
guys.
we will catch up with you. Good luck on the road trip.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks, Jack.
All right. So, Mike, you brought up the Leafs. We chatted about them.
Mhm.
It's getting a little late for them.
Well, I said, I think I said to you last night, but I do believe it's the case. And I said it before this road trip started. And it's really a weird road trip because they played the first game against Montreal and then have a 4-day break when it starts before and after American Thanksgiving, and it's tightly compacted. But it's a 6-game road trip, and they played the most games of any NHL team at home, 15. So now comes the counterbalance where they have a 6-game road trip. And last night they played with their head up their ass against the Montreal Canadiens. And Montreal, they're young, they're fast. And the only thing that kept the game from being 8-0 in the middle of the second period was Joseph Wall, and Craig Berube mercy pulled him because he's played the last 3 games, and this was his 4th start in a row. And I think he saw that, it wasn't going to stop. And, then Montreal sort of went back into like 3rd gear and only won 5-2. And the Leafs clawed back a little bit. But the problem right now is like they played 2 really good sort of 2-way games against Columbus and against St. Louis. They lost one 3-2 in overtime. They won the other 3-2 in overtime. And the one that they lost 3-2 in overtime, I don't understand what Craig Berube is doing. The one guy that you don't put out in overtime is Max Domi, because the guy is a skating minus. And what does he do? He gets his shot blocked. He's playing defense, and Adam Fantilli dresses him like he's Corey Cross. So it was pathetic. I mean, right now they're getting good goaltending from Wall. their defense is right now is really shorthanded to the point that Troy Stetcher played 22 minutes last night. I mean, he had to because McCabe got hurt. So if McCabe is out, and I haven't heard, yeah, he got hit in the face. Now I don't think it's as bad as Charlie McAvoy, but he was feeling around with his jaw, and if he's got a broken jaw, then that's McCabe, Tanev, and Carlo, and then now you're playing Dakota Murmas 20 minutes. You better call up Henry Thrun because at least the guy has played in the NHL.
Yeah, Thrun can play a little bit.
But the point is that they're right now if McCabe is out long term, then that's your three best defensive defensemen. Matthews is skating. They hope he'll be back on Wednesday. Same with Nyes. But you're talking about your best center, probably your best left winger, and your three best defensive defensemen, and your number one goaltender. Who, shock of all shocks, folks, he got hurt and it's worse than expected.
But he's not really a number one, and that's the problem. And that's why I worry about like Vladar. When you start playing a guy that's never been a number one, and especially that guy with his injuries, but anybody when they haven't been a number one, there is a point you're going to hit a wall.
Or the flip side is that also the other way you can do it is, again, if he doesn't have extensive injury history. Now, granted, he did have hip surgery early last year, but when you have less wear and tear on you, like I said, how old is Stolarz now?
31, and he's
31.
had 5,000.
And Vladar is how old?
28.
So you're probably in I look at it almost as like this is the time where he's sort of like he's banked, a little bit of wear and tear.
Yeah.
And now that being said, my concern, I think, in some ways with Vladar would be next season. If he does handle a heavy load, then how does he handle it in the off season versus the previous off seasons? So, and I've gotten to the point now with Vladar where I initially questioned it. Now I'm thinking he's going to be in the 50 start range at the 50 plus.
He's on pace for 53.
He's going to be over 50. So, and we'll see where things go from there. 55 starts potentially or more.
Yeah.
But I'm of the view that I'm okay with that. I'm more wanting to see where he's at next year.
I'm not fully okay with it yet. I got to see where
I'm kind of there with him right now because again, he's playing well. He just is. That's a big reason.
He's playing well. I'm not. But again,
what I'm saying is just it's tough as a coach to be. You want to obviously mitigate some of his starts, but at the same time, I look at it and say I watch how the team plays in front of him, and it's they play pretty confidently. I mean, it's still tight. They're still playing. I think the system certainly helps that Rocket's playing. But
the last thing I would say about this is. I was in the Devils' room, and since they've lost Hughes, they have not been able to get any chemistry. That said, they did have a lot of high-event shots, second period to third. If Vladar has to play like that a lot on the road, with it, this is stress he has never done.
That is true. But again, there are going to be times that your goaltender is going to be called upon to be able to make those kind of saves. I go back to what John Tortorella used to say. He's like, we need that one more save.
Yeah.
So far, Vladar has been able to do that. But again, over the long haul, and Tocchet said that post game last night, there was way too many opportunities for the Devils in the second and third period for his liking. So it's not like what's not noticed. And
just going back to the Leafs quickly, it's like, okay, they, this 5 games, they need to go 4-1 or 3-1-1. And they've won 1 game on the road, and they're going to need goaltending from Wall. And I've been saying for 2 years the most important thing is to find out whether Joseph Wall can be number one. They're going to find that out now, and he's played great since he's come back. So they need him to play well. And if they get some of their players back and start to win, then I think they're still good to make the playoffs. But right now, with the injuries they're having and the inconsistency of some of their players. I mean, they could fall out pretty quickly. They could be there with Buffalo. They could be holding hands as they jump over the falls, Russ.
Well, I mean, that's a nice thought, Mike. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of fans that would appreciate that imagery. But let's talk about the Sabres for a minute because now they scored 9 goals. Like, everything's fine.
Yeah, okay. Talk about a schizo team. Talk about a Jekyll and Hyde team. They played 2 teams this week, Calgary and Chicago. Both teams played first of back-to-backs with their starting goalies. Dustin Wolf, with Calgary, Spencer Knight with Chicago. They both lost. They both come to Buffalo playing their backups. Devin Cooley, the almighty Devin Cooley, on Wednesday, and Arvid Soderblom doesn't make you forget Henrik Lundqvist or Terry Sutton. Neither one of them
Bloom really got lit up.
So these are, and the Sabres were rested.
But let's also point out they left him in the game. Cole, right now, like Jake Allen should have been pulled with 4 minutes to go in the first period, but coaches are not doing that now because the schedule is so bad that they're just like, hey, you're staying in there.
Also, we're worried about statistics. Jake Allen came into the game with a 92% save percentage. So yes, that took a bit of a dent last night. But you can't really say it's a statistical thing. You're getting sometimes as the technical backup, you're gonna. Well, he's not really backup right now, but I mean, you know how it goes. But you're gonna sometimes have to eat one.
Jeff Blashill was like that pitching coach who hands the ball to the reliever and says, "You wanted to throw some innings, you're gonna get all of them." And so, but no. So they faced two backup goaltenders, two teams. Now Chicago's been having a good year. Calgary's the worst team in the league. Buffalo completely goes to sleep in the first period, gives up 2 goals, then comes back in the second period. It's 2-2 going in the third, and everybody's like, okay, they're going to romp over a team playing second of back-to-back. Morgan Frost scores 2 minutes into the second period, and I swear to God, there were people leaving that game in the middle of the third period because they knew that the Sabres weren't going to come back.
They just wanted to pick up some wings on the way home, Mike. That's all.
There you go. Go to Lenovo. That's our new spot. Oh, just kidding.
But don't reveal these things, Michael.
Hey,
you switch wing places all the time. You have no loyalty.
He changes wing places the way that Tortorella changes lines period.
Lenovo is the takeout place, not the place.
See, the only loyalty Mike has is to that Mob Pizza place where he gets his Christmas pizza or whatever, Super Bowl pizza.
Pizza place.
He's got a Mob-owned pizza place.
Mob-owned pizza place.
X-nay on the Obmay there, Russ. I mean, gee. But my point is that against Calgary, against a team that they should bank the 2 points, they didn't show up. And then against a better team like Chicago with Connor Bedard, they open up a 9 spot. There, if you're a gambler, wave off on the Buffalo Sabres because you cannot predict what the hell they're going to do.
Well, that's fair. And you can't predict the weather either. And that's it. That's it for Off the Post, and we'll catch everybody next time.
Take care, everybody.
Snow.